Bizarre Brain Comics. Well, hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I'm Gary, your host. This is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. This time, I want to take a look at this. This is Volume 2, trade paperback, Volume 2 of X-Men Adventures. And this is the comic reprinting issues 5, 6, and 7. No, 5, 6, 7, and 8 of the X-Men Adventures comic, which was tied in, of course, to the animated series in the 90s. So this is Volume 2. About a year and a half or so ago, I did an episode on featuring Volume 1 of this. And unfortunately, it has just as crappy a cover design as that first volume did. Because it's just a crappy design. You can't see much, and it doesn't tell you much either. So I am not thrilled with that. So, okay, X-Men Adventures, Volume 2 from 1994. This is written by Ralph Macchio with art by Andrew Wildman and Chris Batista. And this is X-Men animated superhero TV show based on the popular Marvel Comics superhero team. And the series ran for 5 seasons from 1992 to 97, and it was part of the Fox Kids programming and produced by Marvel Entertainment and Saban Entertainment. And the series featured many episodes which either adapted or were loosely based on storylines from the comic, as well as some wholly original plots. And to tell you, at this time, I liked the X-Men Adventures better than the regular X-Men titles, because they had to actually tell a story in an issue. Because each issue was adapting an adaptation of an episode. So they had to actually tell a story in an episode. Of course, a lot of those were continued storylines. Just as it is in here. But in the regular titles, oh my gosh, you could go issue after issue with very little progress in a story. But here you had to actually tell a story. So that was a good thing. And I wish the regular writers had taken a note from that, and a lot of the comic writers today would take a note from that. I don't like having to, for example, read 5 issues to tell a story that could have been done in an issue and a half. And I think a lot of that is from the influence of the and popularity of the Japanese manga. So the storylines in here are Captive Hearts and Slave Island. And I'll try to go briefly through it, and you can see here title pages, introduction, Wolvie, and then here shows the original cover, and splash page, Captive Hearts. And this is the X-Men are training in the danger room, and realizing how this is Jubilee actually just kind of because she just is still a newbie, and she's discovering how dangerous the danger room actually is. Training for their their stuff, but in the process, it reveals reveals Storm's claustrophobia is revealed in there. Meanwhile, Wolvie is pretty well recovered from an previous encounter with Sabretooth, and so Jean Grey and Scott Summers take a night off, going in doing the town in New York, and tootling around. Then see something unusual. Of course, they're angry because they have stuff on the newspapers about the mutant menace. And some people on the street have spotted what an unusual looking person, and they chase him as apparently a mutant, and our X-Men get down there, but then boom, the mob take out our X-Men. Meanwhile, Wolvie is all teed off because he's in love with Jean Grey, and he's got a hate on for Scott Summers. So then they're down in this. They're taken down into the sewers, or the tunnels, sewers and tunnels under the city, and they're captured. And there's a whole colony of mutants living down there, and I can't remember what they were called. The Morlocks. Oh gosh, and meanwhile, it's become apparent that Scott and Jean are missing. They trace them down there. Have some fighting going on. Some mental stuff going on, even with Wolvie and Jean, and it's good fight. Then Storm and the lady who's in charge of all these mutants have a set 2, have a challenge. Storm wins and leaves that lady in charge, but now that she is the official leader of the Morlocks, and wants them to stop any bad stuff, and etc. Meanwhile, then afterwards, Wolverine has taken off, goes way up north to Alaska. I doubt if it was to Alaska, or way up north, northern Canada, above the Arctic Circle. Just got to get away to clear his head, think, and turns out, there's a setup deal on an ice bridge, kablooey. Sabretooth has done that. Meanwhile, nobody there knows Wolverine's in trouble. He's all sopping wet, and this icy water passes out. It's found by some Inuit natives who when they're out fishing, and Sabretooth kind of leaves them out. And the rest of the X-Men are getting ready to go to an island country called Genosha, because apparently they are encouraging mutants to come there, so it's a refuge, yada yada yada. Meanwhile, Wolvie wakes up. He's with the Inuits, and he kind of stays with them for a little bit. But one of the lead fishermen is kind of jealous because Wolverine is outdoing him and stuff, and Sabretooth has tracked him and comes down to trying to get Wolverine out. He doesn't realize that Sabretooth is what he's going to do, burns out the village and kidnaps all the people. So Wolvie's got to save the people and take care of him. Meanwhile, of Sabretooth, and meanwhile the young Inuit who had both betrayed him and then sacrificed himself to save his people. He was an actual hero. And then Slave Island, which is a two-part of they get to Genosha. They're in their hotel room and they're gassed. Oh, what's going on? And it turns out that's all a trick. The country they're snatching up all the mutants and putting collars on them that cancel their powers and turning them into slave laborers. And they're building this giant dam. It's giant dam, hydroelectric dam for, and we'll find out what that's for in a minute. They have some scuffles. Then they discover, the Sentinels are here. They had a run in with the Sentinels previously, and the Sentinels and their creator. Now I can't remember his name. He was in the movie, one of the movies. Doesn't matter. Trask. Oh yeah, that's it. Trask. They were booted out of the U.S. and that's why they took up residence down here in Kenosha. And here we see them all doing stuff. They're trying to, but Jubilee is trying to plan a kind of a prison break. Meanwhile, the other X-Men are concerned because they can't get a hold of them. And Jubilee makes a run for it, but the others stop her for safety's sake. Then they make a run, have a slave revolt, but is quashed by the Sentinels. And meanwhile, all this time, that Jubilee is thinking that Gambit has been betraying her, and also here this time because she tried to get away, Storm is put in the hot box, isolation box, and this is when her claustrophobia comes into play. But the purpose of all this power from this hydroelectric plant is going to be for Master Mold, this giant Sentinel here, which is an all-in-one factory to produce more Sentinels, and needs all that power, and to creating a few new Sentinels here. And Gambit is pretending to be on to cooperate with all the bad guys on this island, and then he realizes they're going to. They kind of reveal that he's going to be in trouble anyway. So he clones him, gets out of there, tries to get out of there, lost in the jungle, when suddenly he's, boom, there, the bad guys are taken out. And this is when we're introduced to Cable. And he's been a one-man guerrilla unit here on the island of Kenosha. And has been fighting against all this stuff. Of course, yeah, everybody knows Cable, at least a little bit about him. And of course, he's not very friendly. But finally, he and Gambit have to cooperate. They want to go in, and Gambit wants to free everybody, and Gambit wants to get the president or the current military leader, the colonel or whatever he is, of this island. So they're working together. Gambit's collar has been removed, so he's got his powers back. Going kablooey, kablooey, kablooey. Gets Storm and Jubilee out of the boxes, their isolation box, and they take off through the jungle. And this is when Storm, after she's recovered from her claustrophobia, she goes to town. Cable's attacking the place where they got the Master Mold in the main factory, while the X-Men are taking on the guards of the workers on the dam. So they're going to town, and then boom, Storm brings the lightning and does a little bit of Sentinel frying. Bazoom, bazamba. And it has a big old storm, huge storm. But she is not happy, which causes flooding from the reservoir behind the dam, overflows, the dam is smashed, and that causes a flood downstream. Now Cable is engaged in his battle, and has finally cornered the big bad colonel in charge, when the factory is flooded, taking out Master Mold and ultimately all the bad guys there. just in time for the rest of the X-Men to arrive just after the nick of time, but in time for them to get a ride back home. Oh, yeah. And that was a fun read. So it's nice artwork, a little more coherent than what we would have probably seen in the regular titles, and as I said, better storytelling, both visually and oh, I got a spot on there, both visually and textually. So that's what I wanted to share with you this time around. Dun, dun. I wish I had the theme song to play for their X-Men adventures, but I don't. But thank you for joining me. Please like, share, subscribe, leave your comments down below. Tell me, which did you prefer, the X-Men Adventures comic to the regular comic, like I did at the time, or what you thought of the animated series of that particular one compared to some of the later ones. And of course, that one has actually been rebooted with the animated series of X-Men '97, right? I haven't seen it because it's on a streaming service. I don't do streaming. So thank you, and let me know all that good stuff. And remember, comics are art.